Hey, this is Mr. Ekstrom. Today I want to take a look at a problem from section A6. This is solving rational equations. And here we have a monstrosity that we need to solve for the values of x. So these come out looking pretty messy, but we can clean it up relatively quick. Whenever we have fractions in any kind of polynomial looking problem, the first thing we always want to do is multiply through by the LCD, the least common denominator of all of our denominators. And we notice that each denominator has either an x in it, or an x minus 3, or both an x and an x minus 3. So those are going to be our two factors. So we're going to let our LCD equal x times x minus 3, because all of our denominators have at least one of those factors, and this one has both of them there. All right, so if we do that, I'm going to leave some room here. So I'm going to do x times x minus 3. I'm going to multiply every term. There's three terms here. Every term by that. And so this is going to times 7 x minus 2 all over x minus 3. And then we're going to have plus, once again, I'm going to do x times x minus 3. And that's going to be times 5 over x. And then that's going to be equal to negative 5 all over x times x minus 3. And remember, we're multiplying that by the LCD of times x minus 3. All right, so remember, if we take an equation and we multiply everything by the same thing, then we still have the equation intact, and all of our variables should remain the same. So if I do it like this, this will cancel out there, this will cancel out here, and the whole thing will cancel out there. So this is going to leave me 7x from this times x minus 2. And then over here, I just have the plus 5 times x minus 3. And this is going to be equal to negative 5. So multiplying by the LCD cleans this equation up nicely for us. Now we go ahead and distribute. So this is going to be 7x squared minus 14x plus 5x minus 15 is equal to negative 5. All right, so I got everything distributed out. The next thing I want to do is I want to move everything to the left side and just have 0 on my right. So I only have one x squared term, so that remains 7x squared. And then I have a minus 14x and a plus 5x, so that's minus 9x. And I have a negative 15. Well, I'm going to add 5 to both sides, so that should give me a minus 10 over here. And that's going to be equal to 0. Now I have a quadratic. I can use the quadratic formula if I want, or I can try to factor this. I'm going to go ahead and try to factor this. So I'm going to set it up. 7 is a prime number, so we don't have to try multiple factors for the first term. And I have x over here, and this is going to be equal to 0. So now I've got to find two numbers that when they multiply together, they're going to give me negative 10. And then when I do these inner terms and outer terms, I'm going to get a negative 9. So if I play around with it for a little bit, I have plus or minus 2, plus or minus 5, so 2 and 5 are factors, and I also have 10 and 1. So I don't have to do a lot of toying around. But I can find that if I put a -2 here and a +5 there, that gives me my last term when I multiply those together, and 5x and a -14x gives me my -9x, so that works. On another video, I'll show you kind of a more mathematical process you can go through to find that, but really all you have to do is try 4 different combinations to see if that works. All right, once we do that, we can set each factor equal to 0, and when we do that, we're going to get x is equal to 2 when we set this factor equal to 0, and when we set this factor equal to 0, we're going to get x is equal to -5/7. And those are our 2 solutions. If you have any questions, please let me know, and I hope you have a great rest of your weekend. Thanks.